walking outside, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but two things. Yeah. Yeah, there he is. I'm walking fast on it. My one there to cook and keep in the car.
Yeah, it's there. It's just need to open it. Yeah, we made it.
see if brother can take a break at there. Not remove this community to go out here, right? Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shuklam Bharadar Vishnu Sarvarnam Sadurjam Dhannamadam Dhyayat Sarva Vignopashantam Vahayoti Surasamprabha Yirvikam Gurumedeva Sarvakarya Suradaha Gajananam Modaganati Sevitam Kapita Jambhuvala Sarvakshitam Umasundra Shokanashkaranam Namami Vigneshwara Bhadavankajam Megadanta Mahakayam Taptikantanasannivam Lambodharam Vishalaksham Vandegananayam Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Perumal Kistna Gounden Namasya Anteshti Karma Marra Poojakarisyami. Om Shri Harishchandraya Poojakarisyami. Om Brahmadi Murti Namaha Vishve Namaha Om Maheshwari Namaha Dattatreya Murti Dakshinamurti Namaha Om Shri Harishchandra Swami Namaha. Pattattai Tanai Maganarandalum Pillai Varantai Marandalum Uttade Gattai Uyar Marandalum Uyirai Mevi Udal Marandalum Kattanan Jagam Kali Marandalum Kangal Indrimai Padu Marandalum Nattavattavar Ullirandu Ongam Namachivayattai Nan Maravene Shivane Kadavaitire Kaliyamma Vadividuvom Shanti Shanti Shanti. Can get have a Paul to come forward again, 6 gentlemen please. One person to assist us with the prayer box as well. Come on to the feet first, sir. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Om Namah Shivaya.
Please remain standing. Thank you. இந்த தீர்மான நேரத்தில் கடந்து கொண்டிருக்கும் மதிப்புக்குரிய பெரியோர்களே, தாய்மார்கள், குழந்தைகளே, நாம் எல்லோரும் இங்கே ஒன்றாக கூடியிருப்பதற்கு காரணம் நம்மில் இருந்து காலம் சென்ற பெருமாள் கிருஷ்ணா கவுண்டன் அவர்கள் நம்மையுற்றி எல்லாம் வல்ல இறைவனை பாத அடைந்தார். இன்றைக்கு நாம் தெய்வீக பக்தி பாடல்களை பாடி நமது சகோதரி பேரால் இறைவனுக்கு பூமாலையாக சூட்ட வந்துள்ளோம். அதே சமயத்தில் இந்த ஆத்மாவின் நல்ல பதவியும் சாத்தியம் வேண்டும் என்று நம்முடைய உலகம் பிரார்த்தனை. our welcomes and greetings to one and all of you as we are all gathered here this afternoon to put farewell to our father, Professor Perumal Kistna Gounden. We invoke the blessing of God through sacred songs and hymns, asking the Lord to grant unto the soul eternal peace and shanti, and to also comfort this family during this trying time. I humbly ask you now to please bow our heads down and pray. Thank you. முன்னவனே யானை முகத்தவனே முற்றிகளும் சொன்னவனே துய்மை சுகத்தவனே மன்னவனே சிப்பரனே ஐங்கரனே செஞ்சடையும் சேகரனே கற்பரனே சரணம். உலகலாம் உணர்ந்து ஓதற்கு அறியவன் நில உலாவிய நிர்மணி வேணியன் அழகு சோதி நம்பரத்திலாடுவார் அலட்சிரம் வடிவார் நன்றி அமரர்கள். தேங்க்யூ. ப்ளீஸ் பி சீட்டட். As Mr. Kistna is already the custom, we always pay obedience to Lord Ganesha, Ganapati Vinayaka. We ask Lord Vinayaka to remove all obstacles in the path of our dear Father, that his soul may become one with God and attain sure peace. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, I'm now going to hand you over to our Secretary, Dr. Madhu who will now welcome you to the family. Thank you.
ओम श्री सद्गुरु परमात्मा नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरु भगवान शिवानंदाय नमः। गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरु देवो महेश्वरः। गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। Vanakkam and namaskar, warm greetings to you all. On behalf of the late Dr. P.K. Gounden family, we welcome all our friends, our family, our neighbors and well-wishers. We peacefully gather here today to pay our final respects and to bid a final farewell to the wonderful human being that graced the world for 94 years. Today we have quite a few speakers because he was a very loved man, so you have to bear with us. But before we continue, I'm going to give a brief account of his journey. Perumal Kistna Gounden was born on the 19th of December 1929 in Edenvale in Pietermaritzburg. Quite interesting, he was called by the name Sami when he was just a child. Sami, as we know, refers to the Lord or God himself. His parents called him Sami as their son had arrived as a blessing after quite adverse circumstances. So like Sami, he was quite an evolved soul, and like the God himself, he had various forms and various names and laid an imprint on many lives. In many circles, he was known as Sami, and then he became Uncle Sam. He was anglicized to Uncle Sam. And later on in his academic years, he was known as PK. And then in his parallel universe at home, he was known as Dad or Kaka. His pre-war childhood days was quite a challenge because of the resources that were strained. His mum and dad, Munyama and Kistna Gounden, had believed in education and hard work, and they instilled this in the young Perumal. He had worked quite hard throughout his entire schooling career, took a year off after matric to work really hard to earn enough money to pay for tertiary education. Our dad had achieved quite a few qualifications through sheer hard work in his lifetime. Amongst them were a diploma in teacher education, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, majors in mathematics, honors in mathematics, Master of Education, Doctor of Education, and eventually a professorship in education at the University of Durban, Westwood. He had a natural flair for mathematics, and beyond this, he had a natural talent to facilitate even the most difficult, the most challenging mathematical concept. So he served various positions such as a high school mathematics teacher, inspector of schools, and eventually he retired in executive education at the University of Durban, Westwood. He was a saturnal taskmaster, quite a strict disciplinarian, with a sincere and compassionate heart for the students that he served. Once his academic avatar had arrived, his home avatar as a father and husband also blossomed after he married our mother by Gounden in 1957. Dad was quite humble, and he always complimented Mom. He says that they had thrived in life due to Mom, our Begum, who was silent, hardworking, smiling and giving him strength throughout. They had 3 daughters and 2 sons. Dad was quite a spiritual man. He had read the Bhagavad Gita, the Tirukural and the Gambhir Ramayana in his retirement, and he urged others to do the same. In keeping with the Sami spirit, he completed his spiritual journey about 2 weeks ago when he visited the Divine Life Society as a wish. He had darshan, offered a prayer, and performed oblations in the Ganga, and thus he went on to his next journey. So this morning, I'm happy to call our first speaker. Our first speaker is Mr. Perumal, who was Dad's first master's student in 1985 at the University of Westwood, Durban Westwood. Mr. Perumal was the head of department at the Springfield College of Education. He wishes to speak on the topic briefly, the reflections of a postgraduate student. Mr. Perumal will now pay his tribute.
Members of the bereaved family and dear friends, we have come together this afternoon to pay last respects and tribute to a special human being. But when the passing is that of a distinguished academic, intellect, and educator such as Professor P.K. Gounden, this final farewell assumes much greater significance. Indeed, it becomes a time to give thanks. A time to give thanks for an instrument of God's love to us all. And a time to recognize and acknowledge in Professor Gounden an instrument of love that shaped and enriched the lives of numerous learners and students. Professor Gounden was truly blessed with a beautiful mind. And as I address you this afternoon, I have no doubt those numerous learners and scholars, wherever they are today, would proudly endorse the sentiment. And they would do so with a deep sense of gratitude and reverence to their grand educator, Professor P.K. It is therefore my privilege and honor to briefly reflect on my personal encounter with Professor Gounden, who assumed my postgraduate study at UW some 30 years ago. It was an encounter I was truly not prepared for, and little did I realize how profoundly it would alter the way of my thinking as well as the way of pursuing educational truth. Working with Professor Gounden, I had to very quickly adjust to the mind and discipline of an academic supervisor with a strong mathematical bias, with a mind that probed research data in an extremely authentic way. And for one who didn't do pretty well in mathematics at high school, this was quite revealing, quite stimulating, and I found in my supervisor somebody who could interpret and understand statistics better than anybody at UW at the time. Even then, little did I realize how my supervisor's guidance and rigorous academic supervision was essentially taking me on a journey of personal transformation. Yes, the studies were important, yes, the figures were important, but the human being that supervised my work, the mind and the heart that gave me guidance, the mind and the heart that persuaded me, no, not this way, Karan, but let's look at it this way, was something I had to bear with and acknowledge that I was being guided by somebody very, very special. It was a journey of personal transformation and experience. A new awakening in me, in finding a mathematical, very a genius guiding me in my study. And I felt so comfortable. And perhaps most importantly, the realization that you make about your guru comes sometime later. You don't realize that you're being supervised by somebody special. It is only when you retire and look back at your life and ask yourself, why do I do the things today the way I do them? What is it about my life that I can look back and say, this is where the stimulus and inspiration for change in thinking came from. Truly, you become a part of your tutor when you look back in your life. And this I can say with confidence about Professor Gounden. My personal encounter with Professor Gounden and its impact on me would never have been fully known to him. but I discovered a confidence in myself that I never felt I had. So, discovery that drove me to become a new personality. It was such that I found a new conviction in myself. And this manifested itself in the manner in which I thought, in the manner in which I interacted with people, in the manner in which I took on challenges in life that I never thought I could do. And when I look back at what is this transformation and how this has impacted my life, I see very clearly somebody and his mind becoming part of mine. I look back and I say, he was more than an academic. He was more than an academic. And I thank God for having such a supervisor. So my dear Professor Gounden, your legacy, I believe, will live and inspire many for years to come. And I believe the Almighty has prepared a place for you, a special place for you for having served Him so well. Your love in its various forms, your tutoring in its various forms, your guidance to young learners and young minds wherever they are today has earned you the special place in God's home. Know too that students wherever they are giving thanks and cherishing your memory now. And know also, even today, when confronted by difficult choices, so many of us still seek solutions by asking ourselves, well, how will Professor Gounden handle this problem? And finally, if I may be allowed to be proxy for the numerous students whose lives were touched by our beloved Prof. God bless your soul, for you have served him well. Go well, Professor.
Thank you, Mr. Gounden, for those beautiful words. Our next speaker is Dr. N.K. Gounden, affectionately known as Mace. He had quite an interesting initiative in his mind when he was a student. At some stage he wanted to become a medical professional, but as a result of restraining circumstances and poor resources at that time, he was unable to do so. So he poured all his dreams and allowed his son to leave his legacy. So today I introduce you to Dr. N.K. Gounden. Come to the please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, today I stand here alone, very alone. That rock, that massive structure of stability and knowledge is no more. I'm surrounded by a hall full of family and friends. But my one true friend is gone. My father was my friend. He was my mentor. He was an intellectual father, but he was, to us, he was like the older people know Encyclopedia Britannica, but the newer people is internet. Now there is a massive void and emptiness in me, and I do evil, and I blame time that somehow that police. He was a beautiful man, wasn't it? He was a brilliant man, and he led by example. And I can say for the fact that he and my mother were the epitome of role models as parents. And he may not have shown his love in the way, usual physical way that we show each other, but our every single need was met, and there was nothing short for us. He was quite a strict disciplinarian back in his days. I remember when I getting a hiding from him for taking our bicycles and going to Blue Lagoon without his permission. And one of my friends I gave with me, and he called us like a headmaster and said, "Just do that, bend over." So he was playing a four, and that was that. He never did it again. You know? That's how he used to be. And, with a few other anecdotes, but I won't go into too much for certain time. His father told him, "Son, when you grow up, I do not want your hands to be messed with the soil that I, as a farmer, have to." And together with his father's drive and his own ambition, he rose from a 5-year-old boy in the farm, speaking no English, Tamil and Zulu only, and started primary school, and then went on to become a respected professor of education. I still recall, he went to school in grade 1 and he couldn't speak English, and his teacher was Hindi, and the common language was Zulu. So they spoke in Zulu for a while until they learned to speak English. His nurses realized that in the end, how well he spoke English. And when my dad completed his doctorate, the first page of his book read, "This is in honor of my late father, who is profound faith in formal education, of which he had none." Almost, my father used to phone me at about 8:25 every day. It was just after my breakfast, before I would go to work, and he would want to ask me a few questions every day, and exchange our bits of information. He never troubled me much. He'd start his questions and he would say, "Okay, I think that's pretty much an age thing, eh? So, okay, we have a good day, we carry on." So I will miss those 8:25, literally 8:25. He knew I had at that time, then he knew I was busy, and he never troubled me after that. To my mother, I know what a big change, I know what a big change is going to be for you. And we and Dad were a powerful team that worked very well together. And we're going to be here to work together. I know you love each other very much, even though we didn't see physically all the time, but it existed because he treated you like a queen. Remember, I was a queen. And you passed were a small. So, my father was there. Dad, I will always love you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for educating me. Thank you. I will continue that this where you always had for academic excellence and knowledge, and I will continue to channel you power. And when the time is right, we shall meet again and reunite. And so then, farewell, beautiful father. Thank you.
More
Our next speaker is Professor Perumal Kistna. Prof here. So we move on to the next speaker. Our next set of speakers is Mr. Sherwin Singh. Sorry, Prof. So Professor Perumal Kistna will share his tribute today. He's quite well known and famous in various circles. Tamil music industry of South Africa, the Divine Light Society. Most important, Professor Pillay is the Emeritus Professor of Mathematics at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. He's also a former student and colleague of Dad, and one who held Dad in high esteem. Prof.
With a heavy heart that I stand here to pay my deep respects to my mathematics teacher, colleague, and role model. I kept in touch with him and the family over these last 62 years, especially after he became a member of the Divine Light Society family. At a time when few Indian teachers pursued mathematics as a career, we at Kerala were especially fortunate to have an excellent teacher in Professor Perumal Kistna Gounden, who came into the school with an honors degree in mathematics. My own career was inspired by his sterling example. Only recently, when I pressed him to talk of his early days, did I learn of the almost insurmountable difficulties he had to overcome to get to the highest rung of the education ladder. Dr. Gounden made reference to some of these with indulgence, and some of the repeat some of them. Born into a poor family, he began his early education while studying in a one-room home under a paraffin lamp. Tamil was the only language he knew, so it was quite a miracle that he surmounted this major difficulty, excelling in primary school. High school in faraway Petermarsburg was the next major challenge. He had to take 2 modes of transport and even cross a river which was in flood quite often. But undaunted and with perseverance and diligence, he rose above other better endowed classmates to achieve top honors in secondary school. Humble, gentle, wise, and caring, he was a gifted teacher, with many hundreds of his students going on to achieve great heights in their professions. I pause here to share some of the tributes that I received from our colleagues. Ashik Hansraj, Director of Mancosa. I will have very fond memories of him as my lecturer and as a colleague in the education faculty, a true gentleman. Professor Mansami Motley, who is former Dean of Education at the University of Lebanon, former university, says, God bless his soul and guide his family, a wonderful human being. Professor Leo Ritala, who is in the Department of Mathematics at UT, my deepest condolences to the family. He lectured to me in the mathematics teaching methods module. Professor Percy, former principal of the Trinity College of Education, says, my deepest sympathy to the family, a highly respected and caring person. And Moses Montgomery was a former vice principal of Springfield. What an excellent, interesting teacher and such a fine gentleman. He made a huge personal impact on me and many others. Deepest condolences to his family. May his soul rest in peace. All very glorious tributes, especially to the character of this great being. In the book, What Becomes of the Soul After Death, is from Islam writes, death is the separation of the soul from the body. All the sorrows of man come from the body. The phenomenon of death sets the human mind to think deeply. It is a call to reflect and seek the goal of life, the eternal self. Death is nothing but a change of body. The soul throws the body off like a used garment, and human life gets purged and perfected in order that man can attain everlasting bliss. The Bhagavad Gita places the highest emphasis on duty. In all areas of activity, Professor Gounden served with distinction, and we heard quite a lot of that so far. He was a loving father, a caring husband, who regarded another Hakim as a queen. He was an excellent teacher, and he prayed that God gives his family, mother and the siblings, the requisite strength to pass through this period of profound relief, knowing that he is now freed from the shackles of a body that he struggled with for so long. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you, Professor. Our next set of speakers are Mr. Shovan Singh and Mr. Vinay Singh. Shovan is the eldest grandchild for our father, and Vinay is his younger brother. Dad is very proud of these two young gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of my family, I'd like to firstly begin by thanking everyone for being present today. Together, in both sorrow and gratitude to honor the life of my remarkable grandfather, a true legend who positively impacted the lives of countless individuals during his 94 years with us. I affectionately called him Dad, a bond that transcended the usual grandfather-grandson relationship. Each of us grandchildren shared our own unique connections with him, but as his eldest, I thought it a especially cherished bond. He was not merely my grandfather, he was the heart and soul of our family. He was my hero. His legacy endures not only within our family, but also through the countless students he taught, inspired, and encouraged throughout his remarkable life. I've been fortunate to encounter some of his former students, and the joy that brightened their faces at the mere mention of his name speaks volumes of his profound character and impact as an educator. He took immense pride in nurturing others and dedicating his life to shaping young minds. He was a true testament to mathematical brilliance. I treasure the memories of his passionate yet strict teaching. How I long to relive those days at his dining table, filled with both fear of getting an answer wrong and an awe at his brilliance. Now I pass on those invaluable lessons to my children. I see the same spark of curiosity ignited in them. They take great pride in sharing stories of their great grandfather, who remained a powerful role model in their lives. But what I will forever cherish most about my granddad are my fond memories with him at his former residence in Varsity Drive. Here he found joy in simple pleasures, family dinners, long walks, time spent with loved ones, but most importantly, his love for gardening. I had the privilege of sharing that passion with him as I grew up. Some of my fondest memories are the time we spent together tending to his garden as his little helper. It was during those quiet moments we bonded the most, and he taught me how to make compost, grow vegetables, and appreciate the beauty of Mother Nature. And I'll admit, in the beginning, I used to complain to Ma about, because my job was to just open and close the tap for him whenever he walks in the garden. Today, you will hear countless stories about the challenges he overcame and many lives he touched. He lived with such selflessness, and it is undoubtedly through those acts of kindness that he was blessed with a long and healthy life. Not only did he witness the growth of his grandchildren, He also reveled in the joy of spending time with his great-grandchildren. In the end, he departed on his own terms, allowing us all precious opportunities to say goodbyes, a rare gift that will be forever cherished in our hearts. How many people are granted such a moment? It takes a truly exceptional person, and my granddad was nothing short of extraordinary. As we say our final goodbyes today, we mourn the absence of his presence amongst us, yet we also celebrate a life. It was not only rich, but full of profound meaningfulness. His influence and wisdom will forever echo in our hearts, and I know his story will continue to inspire both me and my children for generations to come. He leaves behind immense shoes to fill as a family patriarch. But I have every confidence that we will all rise to this challenge, each of us striving to live in a way that honors our extraordinary grandfather. Rest in peace, Dad. Your legacy will forever be etched in our souls, and you will never be forgotten, and we will love you eternally.
So we were tasked to keep this brief, but I'll try my best. We all know personally there's hours of stories to recount for each of us. I'm personally very grateful that I was able to share and express my pride and admiration for Tata directly to him at his 90th birthday 5 years ago. He is very much the patriarch of the family, and we've been spoiled with so much time and memories that I think we took it for granted that he would be there for us forever. Tata had dedicated his life to academics, but retired before ever really getting the opportunity to educate in the free South Africa. While that was the case, I can say with pride that for the next 30 years, we as grandchildren are very blessed and lucky to have him and Ma as instrumental figureheads to so many foundational and core aspects of our lives. So much so that we knew the learnings and teachings definitely did not stop post-democracy. We've been blessed with exemplars in the truest definition of the word. Some family attendants would know that as a child I was very close to Aya, and it was only in the last few years I took solace that she was able to see all her great-grandchildren before passing. While Tata might not have that opportunity, he's been so principled to all of our lives and equipped us to achieve such great things that his legacy will continue to form a part of how we live and grow as we follow in his example.
Yes,
Next set of speakers is Mr. Shilin Gopal and Mr. Kalvesh Gopal, again grandsons of our beloved dad. These are our national and international visitors. Kalvesh flew all the way from Amsterdam to come to the funeral today, and Shilin came from Cape Town with his kids. So Dad was quite fond of these two young gentlemen and poured a lot of his effort and love and care into them. And today, the whole entire family is quite proud of them. Shilin and Kalvesh.
Hi, good afternoon, dear family and friends. It's an honor for me to be allowed this time to speak at my grandfather's funeral. And I would like to take this opportunity to share some of my personal memories and thoughts, which I think you will want me to share, and hopefully offer some comfort to my family. So 10 years ago, I made the difficult choice to move to Cape Town, which has been a blessing to my family, but it also meant I wouldn't get to see my family in Durban as often. But I knew it was something my grandfather supported. On Sunday, when I got the news of my grandfather's passing, that his journey on this earth was over, it was an overwhelming sadness, knowing he was my newborn. I wasn't ready to say goodbye. After thinking it through, I thought that, honestly, I would never be ready to say goodbye. How could I be ready to say goodbye to someone who played such a key role in my life? He would be the one I would go to when I wanted to find out something. Because of his vast knowledge of everything, from education to shopping to finance, gardening, raising children, the list is endless. I saw him as someone who knew everything. I mean, how else do you get a title of professor, right? So nowadays, kids have smartphones, access to Google. They can get answers much quicker. But back when I was a kid, we had no internet. We barely had access to a telephone. So we would wait patiently, sometimes for months, while we were away, to meet with my grandfather and have these conversations. And what I started to realize as I thought things through, I now couldn't go to him any longer, not even for a quick chat, ever again. But then I asked myself, how do I make peace with this? And I started looking around me, thinking about his qualities, which I will remember him for. And I realized that his role in my life wasn't to be here forever. It was to educate me, so I can live a life with the values that he instilled in us. When I look around now, I feel some comfort knowing that most of his knowledge has been passed on to our family. He would spend hours talking to us. Now it's more clear as to why these moments were so important to us. It wasn't just talking, it was him passing down his life knowledge. Everyone knows that he was a professor, and education was his strong point. If you look around our family now, he has raised many academic professionals in our family. Both my brother and myself were able to get our engineering degrees as well, with his help. He knew education was the way to change our future. And now, today, we have many educated and talented individuals in our family that we can lean on when we need to. A role that he was known for was his kindness, something I picked out in him. He was different from most other people in his age group. He respected his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Our opinion always mattered. He had time for us. Instead of forcing down his rank, he would take time to speak to us, so we understood. he would always make sure we had the best meals and experiences when we were in his company, which I see now in many of my family members still. My children know when they are coming to Durban, they're going to be surrounded by a loving family who want to be a part of your life. He was a gentleman. Not one day did I ever see him fight with my grandmother or my mother. He was such a gentle soul when it came to the woman in his life. Whenever he was with my grandmother, I admired how he would always spend time with her, share meals with her, share life experiences, always calm and loving with her. But the main thing he was to me, he was the glue that held us together. We would always want to go to Papa's house, always in Ada's power shop. And our last trip was in July this year when we shared our last memories with him while he was still on Earth. It was one of the last houses I felt that we could just show up, knock on the door unannounced, and still get welcome him with a smile. He always made time for his family members when we needed him. As I look around today, I see that these values live on, and it is up to us now to continue to uphold values that we all hold so dearly. I ask my family, let's keep his light burning in our homes, in our hearts, so we can create a future that he would be proud to look down on and say, my time on earth was well spent. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So just hearing everybody talk, just got me thinking about a question people often ask me. And I think this may not be something I would have told other people, but they always ask me, who is your hero, who do you idolize? And there's only one person I can think of, my grandfather, my father. That's who he is, and think about it. As everybody was talking now, it's going through the years of what I've experienced with him personally, and I'm sure a lot of us here have also experienced. I like Uncle Nace's little excerpt about getting kind of with a stick. We didn't get it with a stick, I don't remember, but we were disciplined, but we were also treated with a lot of love, kindness, and one thing that sticks to mind is we had a safe space at that house. Mom always created that place for us. I remember in high school, I wasn't even in a place to kind of focus my mind away from everything. And I spent days like working on geometry or like something math related usually. Yeah, he was amazing. Like, aside from the academic side of it, he was a kind-hearted man and also very funny. I still remember a couple of quotes from him. And one of my favorite stories, I don't have time to tell it to you now, but it was about him buying a car so he would not have to pay that much for his shoes. And then he found out that, yeah, it doesn't work that way. But it was one of his jokes that he used to tell, and I found it amazing. And one of my favorite last moments from him that I remember was his 90th birthday. And I was giving a speech, much like this, and I forgot what I was supposed to say, so I just turned around and gave him a thumbs up. And he turned around and gave me a thumbs up as well. Yeah, he was, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. He was an incredible man. He will still be the answer to that question for me. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Keshav Gounden. Keshav is the youngest grandson in the family. Keshav will now be introduced.
Hello everyone. Grandpa, Tata, Sam, Sammy, Prof, Doc, Bai, PK, Perumal, brother, son, and dad. These are just some of the titles that my grandfather was going to buy. All these different titles, they hold his stories and his life experiences. From the beginning, from his father being Kistna's son, to the gift of fathering in 3 new generations through his kids, and now us, his grandchildren, and now even his great-grandchildren. I look around at my family and the extended, and I think about how privileged we are to have had someone like Grandpa in our lives, for the fact that he allowed his children and now us in turn to continue his legacy. A legacy that I know that I've tried to live up to, but his life was so lived that I feel like I fall short every day. He has afforded his children, and in turn now us, the opportunity to begin our lives separate from the struggles of our past, allowing us to focus on our future. My grandfather was my highest living role model, and I looked up to him and would hope that one day others would see him within me. He kick-started my drive for knowledge. Never had I known another person who could talk about every single subject, politics, religion, science, or just a story from back in the day. He always had something and always had knowledge to share, because he knew that the knowledge that we have is one of the only true powers that we have as people. I didn't want to share memories today, but instead shed light on the wonderful community that he has built because of his life. It is truly beautiful to see everyone here in his name, and I hope that one day I'll be able to lead and build like him. He has shown me what it means to be a real human being, and more, even a true man. And for that, I'll always forever be grateful, and forever will be reaching to meet his standards. I love you, Grandpa, Tata, Perumal. You are truly never gone, as you live within us all through our lives.
Thank you so much, Keshav. Our next speaker is Mrs. Roshni Naika. Roshni is also affectionately known as Charmaine, and she's our cousin from Gauteng. And her dad, Uncle GK, was our dad's partner in crime. So they often went family holidays together and traveled a lot together, and had a lot of great experiences together. Roshni will now play her tribute.
Namaste, Namaskar. Our respected Guru, esteemed and beloved elders, family and friends. I stand before you with gratitude, for the life and amazing soul that I have the privilege to call my uncle and dad. He has been and always will be an inspiration to me, my family, to the extended family, friends and strangers who've had the fortune of having met him. Big Daddy, or Uncle Sam as he was affectionately known, was the reason that I had to work so hard at school. At the end of every school year, my dad would dissect my report card, and I would get grilled if my marks in maths and science weren't what he thought they should be, and up to his standard. And all of this whilst we were on holiday, when all we wanted to do as children was go to the beach. But this was the motivation to work harder from 2 brothers with humble beginnings from a farm in Edendale in Pietermaritzburg. He was a source of strength and calm when I lost my mum 25 years ago. He was the rock and guide when I got married, and most significantly, he was a tremendous amount of support less than 15 months ago when we bid farewell to my dad, his brother. The depth of emotion I felt then was like none other. The words he spoke were that he has cried only twice in his life. Once when he lost our grand, and the second when he came to bid farewell to my dad. How does anyone quantify that depth of emotion and the determination of a then 93-year-old who was of ill health to make the journey to offer my family support speaks to the strength of character that was our uncle, dad, brother, cousin, grandfather, husband, and so much more. And behind every great man, and that he was the strength and support of our mom and aunt. We will always be grateful to you, Mom, for your unwavering guidance and support. With that, Dad, we bid you farewell. I know you're happy with your brother, and I know you guys are sitting and having a cup of tea and looking at us and saying, be kind, be safe, and be honorable. We will miss you forever, and we will love you forever. And thank you for your guidance and unwavering support throughout all our lives. Thank you.
Being an auspicious month of podcasting, our Father, as you know, passed on this beautiful month, we dedicate a song to Lord Narayan Venkateswara, as our Father is also a great devotee of Lord Venkateswara. Narayan. Let us listen to a beautiful composition dedicated to Lord Narayan. Maya Vajaya Sri Kanna Guru Vayurappa Aranudina Karunya Maya Vajaya Sri Kanna Guru Vayurappa Aranudina Karunya Maya Kaya Govind Neelavarna Kaya Govind Neelavarna Yagar Karutire Invan Kadiyadu Manna Maya Varana Kanna Guru Vayurappa Sharanam Dina Karunya Maya Vadarani Kanna Narayana Govinda Hari Narayana Shri Krishna Gounden Narayana Govinda Hari Narayana Shri Krishna Mukunda Narayana Nandagita Narayana Nandagita Sarva Pavangalmuni Kumbhara Vrinda Maya Vajarasi Kanna Guru Vayurappa Sharanudina Karunya Maya Vajarasi Kanna Annai Tamil Taazhinikkum Kaviya Peramudam Padithe Kanna Annai Tamil Taazhinikkum Kaviya Peramudam Padithe Kanna Illangal Edum Edamal Ni Ellarum Epodum Kaatharuvaai Sappodum Maya Vajarasi Kanna Guru Vayurappa Sharanam Dina Karunya Maya Vajarasi Kanna 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 Guru Vayurappa Sharanam Guru Vayurappa Sharanam.
Our final speaker for the day is Mr. Suresh Singh. Suresh is quite a legend in our family. He's the eldest son-in-law married to Nana. That's Professor PK's eldest daughter, first child. Suresh and Dad had quite an interesting relationship in that they both held each other in such good esteem and also had great respect for each other. Suresh is often called upon by many family members for his great experience, expertise and good advice. Suresh will now pay his tribute.
Family, friends. We have all heard about the academic achievements of Professor P.K. Gounden. Under that academic cap and gown, he was a passionate, loving, caring husband, grandfather, great-grandfather, and my father-in-law, which I affectionately call Dad. I married into the family 45 years ago, and I was fortunate to get to know this great man. I also shared to become one of the recipients of his love and affection to his children. He regarded me as one of them. We have been blessed to have had such a wise man in our family. He was our go-to person. He was very knowledgeable in all matters of life and always up to date with news and sports and happenings around the world. It was up until his 90th birthday, he was totally a self-sufficient person who would drive, take long vacations, spoiled mom, they should take weekends getaways. It was a very sad moment on this one fateful day, as Dad described it to us. It was a life-changing day for him. He suffered two twin strokes when he lost control of his vehicle. And we as a family got together and we felt that in his safety, for his safety and the safety for others, we took away his driving privilege and offered to take him around whenever he needed to get around. It was a sad moment because this in some way had affected his movement and his ability to be independent. This was his first knock of losing independence. Sadly for him, but we all gathered around and rallied. We were also very fortunate to have Tulsi, his youngest daughter. She stepped up to the occasion and moved out of her house and moved in with Dad and Mom to take care in these trying times. And he never had the need to want to call for a driver or an Uber. He had his in-house Uber driver. She also provided so well in preparing meals for them and making sure that the day-to-day household chores were taken care of, as well as making sure he had his medication on time. Our family will be eternally grateful to you, Tulsi, because she put her life on hold to make sure Mom and Dad were well taken care of. We as a family often got together, and one of the get-togethers were always on time. That was birthdays of Mom and Dad. Every speech Dad made included some witty sense of humor. You had to be sharp enough to catch him because he'd give you a one-liner. And he used to also reference his life relating to sport, like having good innings. And every birthday was celebrated as whatever the age and not out. Sadly, Dad, the last time he said it to us was 94, not out. The last 5 months, Dad's health started to wane and he needed constant monitoring. Being such a strong man,
he sometimes became a challenge to the two ladies at home. It was that when I stepped in, being close by, I used to go and help Kosi and Ma to ensure Dad's safety. I used to join Dad every evening after work. We sat, we engaged in conversation. We made very good conversations and good one-to-one chats. As his health deteriorated progressively, we hired the services of caregivers through a referred sister to us, and we were very blessed to have a dedicated staff and service of the caregivers that made his life a little comfortable. As the days progressed, Dad's energy levels diminished. Conversations became shorter, from full sentences to words, and at times it became gestures and sign language. He felt he was robbed, he was being robbed of his dignity when he had become totally reliant on others to take care, to live. It was very sad to watch Dad with all his wisdom, but could not vocalize his thoughts. Today, as we mourn his demise and the void is left in our hearts, but to Dad, death has come to him as a rescue. He constantly was concerned about Mom. She was someone he had his soulmate for 67 years, and also somebody that he has known for 87 years. They were also first cousins, and I think from the time he first set eyes on her, he never closed their eyes. Ma, I promise you in front of everyone, together with your loving children, we will always be available whenever you need us. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh. Our last speaker of the day is Ms. Mishka Gounden. She will be delivering the vote of thanks and also paying congratulations. Thank you, Mishka.
So everyone has shared such wonderful stories and memories and moments and kind words about the man that I so proudly call my grandfather. But I wanted to share something different with you all today. And I truly believe my grandfather, he had a superpower. And it's a strange one, and I'll tell you why. When I was sitting down and thinking about him, I had this huge realization that he actually had such an immense influence with regards to my career, without even saying anything. And I always thought my grandfather was so inspiring with regards to his career, how he became so successful, how he maintained being so humble while maintaining success and creating success for his students, his colleagues, and his family. He never had to say anything to us or anybody because he raised the bar so high by achieving such wonderful things and helping others that we automatically followed in his footsteps by studying hard and working hard, being humble and trying to make the world a better place. We actually owe everything to my grandfather thanks to his amazing superpower. Imagine that, having the ability to enrich lives and create successful, good individuals, not having to say anything but to lead by actions. I truly believe it takes a very special and incredible person to do that. Now, I can stand here today and share more stories of how he impacted other aspects of all of our lives, but we would be here for a very, very long time. That is how much good he's done for us, for his family, his students, his colleagues, and for our country. and his community. So on that note, I'd like to close off with a vote of thanks. Thank you to each and every one of you who attended today in honor of my grandfather, the great and legendary Professor P.K. Gounden. Thank you for the love and the support, the floral arrangements, the small gifts and phone calls and messages, and a big thank you and appreciation going out to our service providers who assisted us with the funeral arrangements, Uncle Kumar and Auntie Loretta of Amshlanga Funeral Services, and the rest of the service providers as well. A very big thank you to Guru Manobran, who assisted us with the prayers and the rituals. Thank you to Clare State Crematorium. And thank you to each and every single immediate family member here today. You know, everybody played such a big role in making today possible. A really deep appreciation for Auntie Tulsi, for always being there to assist her parents day and night. And Uncle Suresh for all his assistance, just one phone call and he is there at the drop of the hat always. A grateful big thank you to all the nurses who worked really hard to look after and nurse my grandfather. That is Slee and Snay, Dolly, Monica, Lindy, Sister Zandi and Charmaine. And we were really blessed to have amazing doctors, Dr. Ramdale and Dr. Mudli, that always took care of my grandfather's health. And last but not least, our precious stallion and Yuliswa, who was ever ready to assist my grandfather at any time. So thank you once again for all coming, and I hope that you have a safe journey home. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishma. So we've come to the end of the formal part of the service. As we walked in today, I met Guru Kumaresan Chetty. Sorry, please forgive me. Guru Kumaresan Chetty. And I realized that we are so blessed and privileged to have him rendering beautiful devarams as well as the bhajans. And we have such an esteemed singer that's with us today. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Also like to thank Guru Manogran, who conducted all the rituals so beautifully at home today. And he made the entire complicated South Indian ritual quite fun and understandable. So he's a new age type of priest. Thank you so much for it. We really appreciate it. While maintaining the sanctity of the ritual. So as we have heard and we've seen today, all the people that have come today to speak, we can see what a great, fabulous, dignified, graceful, giving, peaceful soul our Father was. We wish him well. We wish him well in his next journey, that he enjoys and rejoices in peace wherever he is at the moment, and he rejoices in his good deeds that he's for coming in today and helping us in various ways. We wish you well in your journey back home. Just a few announcements. Remember this afternoon, after the ceremony is over, we're serving lunch at the residence in 2 Warburg Street in Westwood. That's it, just off Pedlockery Road. It's opposite the tennis courts, so please join us for lunch. And I now leave you to one last announcement. The 15-day ceremony is being held on the 27th of October. The time and the venue is still to be finalized, but you all are invited and we're happy to have you. Thank you very much. And now I leave you to Guru Kumaresan Chetty, who will continue to render bhajans. Thank you.
Dear family and friends, on behalf of Asakam Shanga Funeral Services, we once again take this opportunity to, on behalf of the family, thank all of you for being here, and also to convey upon the family our heartfelt sympathies and condolences. And we pray to the divine God Almighty that He should shower this family with His choices of blessings and comforts. in order for them to overcome this unbearable loss. We are in the next 5 minutes going to proceed to the antechambers. Due to the space restrictions and the safety rules and regulations of the crematorium, unfortunately not everybody will be allowed into the antechambers. It will just be the immediate family that will be allowed to come through to perform the necessary last rites and do the actual rituals. The rest of you, I will appeal to you to make your way back to the residence to partake of the meals that have been especially prepared for you. Once we have proceeded, we humbly request you to kindly vacate the hall as it needs to be prepared for the next funeral, which is due here in the next 15 minutes. If we kindly have the immediate family to come through to start offering the goodbye roses. Thank you.
Once the family is offering the roses, another song goes to the right invitation.
Let's go.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As mentioned earlier, the coming up here.